shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait. Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your Monday morning energizer covering insights and trends in higher ed marketing and enrollment. I'm Mallory Wilsey, bringing over 15 years of ed tech and marketing expertise to your earbuds.
And I'm Seth Odell, joining the Pulse with my own adventures from leading marketing at top universities to founding Kanahoma, one of the industry's fastest growing digital marketing agencies.
Each week, we bring you the kind of insider insights you typically only find over cocktails with your pals at a conference.
It's fast, it's fun, and it's designed for you, the busy higher ed professional.
You're not just listening to another podcast.
You're checking the pulse of higher education.
Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome back to the Pulse. I am sitting here at the NAGAP conference in Louisville, Kentucky with Tony, the CEO of DD Agency. Tony, I've known you for what feels like years and years now, so this is such a treat for me to be able to sit across from you and do this interview. Why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, it's an honor to be here with you, Mallory. Here at this is probably my favorite higher ed conference.
Wow.
And I've been coming to this conference for a long time. I am the CEO of DD Agency, but I've been coming here. I think this is my 17th NAGAP GEM Summit, which is so much fun. And DD Agency, we work a lot with schools in the higher ed space, do digital marketing, content marketing, a whole bunch of stuff, some strategic consulting. But one of our specialties is the grad school market. And so that's kind of near and dear to my heart. We work a lot with grad schools of all shapes and sizes and help them with their enrollment marketing.
Amazing. And DD Agency has been around for quite some time. We were chatting last night at the opening reception, and you let me know that you're about to celebrate your 40th anniversary. Congratulations.
Yeah, 40 years. I mean, what has been around for 40 years? That's, I think, anything in the higher ed space, other than the institutions themselves, but as far as like dedicated partners and service providers, you've either bought or you didn't exist. And so, and people mess up our name a lot. And what's the two Ds? People call us D and D. The DD Agency comes from direct development. And so we were just direct development for many, many years. And that came from direct mail and fundraising and donor development. We actually started with nonprofits back in the 80s. My dad started this company. We've grown a lot. We got to the higher ed space in the 90s, actually by accident. And we fell in love with higher ed and became dedicated to higher ed. And so direct development is the parent company. My dad started the company. I joined in 2005, getting close to 20 years here now. And we just serve schools and nonprofits mostly. And DD Agency is our agency at which we serve schools. So we're celebrating 40 years and weathering many different storms in the marketing industry, specifically with higher ed. Gives us a lot of perspective.
Well, let's talk about some of the perspective that you bring. This conference, NAGAP, is all about the graduate space. And since I arrived to Louisville, I've been chatting with a lot of folks who are responsible for enrollment marketing on the grad side, the admissions and recruiting. That seems to be the audience that's here. And I know you've been coming, like you said, to this conference for 17 years. Let's talk about how all of these disciplines intersect. Yeah. Admissions and recruiting, enrollment marketing, together they play a really important role. And I know that the graduate education in a lot of ways is helping offset some of the declines in undergraduate for some of these institutions.
Yeah.
So
you said it right there. That's what's happening right here and right now in the GEM industry, which is graduate enrollment management, which has many aspects to it, many domains, but specifically about graduate student recruitment and marketing, which is really, we use the term enrollment marketing all the time. You guys use that a lot as well. You guys are amazing at it. Enrollment marketing is really something that's more common in our tongue today that I would say a decade or two ago, people didn't use that term. And so I think there's a merging where you've got enrollment management and you've got university marketing and communications. And where those circles overlap is the art and the science of all the work that goes into attracting, engaging and recruiting and ultimately enrolling a student. And let me tell you, it's a ton of work, and you named it perfectly. Right now, what's happening is that so many grad schools are being put under this pressure cooker where they have to make up for an institution what they've essentially lost at the undergrad level. This is still, I call it post-pandemic, because we're in this time where we're not post-pandemic anymore, but we're post that. And I see a lot of schools and a lot of higher ed folks they're having to deal with reduced teams, reduced resources, but at the grad level, on the whole, most grad schools are expected to make up for that loss and have huge increases in enrollment, even for programs that aren't really marketable or aren't as in demand. So that's tough. And so enrollment marketing has to come in and save the day. What is your enrollment marketing strategy? That's the question.
So as an agency that's working with, I'm sure, a number of these institutions, how are you helping them think about that? Are you encouraging them to use certain digital channels? Is email dead? Is print dead?
Yeah.
Like, how are you reaching that potential grad student who we know, especially post-pandemic, they are being pulled in a lot of directions. They have decided more intentionally how to spend their time and their money. We value things very differently in a post-pandemic world. So I have to imagine how you are reaching and marketing, attracting these students has changed.
Yeah. And especially, that's such a good question, Mallory. And especially in an age where there's so much burgeoning innovation right now with AI and many other things. Innovation, you definitely have to stay up with. I'm not going to lie. You got to be innovative. It's like innovate or die. I don't disagree with that to a point. At the same time, our years of experience do give us perspective. I remember when people first saying email is dead. They were saying email is going to die like 10, 15 years ago when things came out. And so I don't love the whole X tactic is dead. Yes, some things get extinct. Most of them really actually evolve. I don't think they die so much as your strategy does need to change in how you use it. And so it's more about evolution. We're talking to a lot of schools about, cool, what are you doing right now? And we look for gaps. What are you not doing? Often it's actually less is more. So more often than not, I'm not going to lie, we end up showing schools like you don't need to be doing a few of the things you are doing, some of the tactics, and we shift the strategy to include some things they're not doing but should. So things like email being dead or print being dead, like I think print still serves a great place when done well in a good strategy. We do lots of digital advertising, but again, I think there's a lot of schools that are overly addicted and giving way too much money to Google and Meta and LinkedIn, and they could reduce some of that spend actually. It's a lot of kind of spending smarter and not spending larger all the time. So most of it's about diverting energy and shifting strategies. You do need to innovate, yes, but often right now in our world where there's so many choices and so many technologies you can be doing, so you need to do all of them. I'm pretty provocative in the sense that my team knows this, I hate the phrase omni-channel. I just don't think omni-channel has really done a lot for the industry of marketing in general. I know there's some people who will disagree with me on that. I think where it really has a place is really, really, really big enterprise level, like ESPN, Disney. You can talk omni-channel. I get it. But I think for marketing and for higher ed and for schools, I think omni-channel makes them think, I've got to be everywhere and all things to all people. And you don't. You actually are trying to find the right fit grad students, not all grad students. You're not going to attract them all. You need to attract the ones that are good for you. You don't need omni-channel. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to play your game smart. So I'm like anti-omni-channel. I think that phrase hasn't really helped the marketing industry, and it doesn't really help the end user organizations.
That's a hot take. We love hot takes on the Pulse. So you are serving it up. Now, something you just said, you have to play your game smart. It struck me last night at that opening reception, talking to folks and hearing about their challenges, just how small these teams are. And in a lot of cases, it's one or two people responsible for the enrollment management of entire programs. And sometimes like multiple programs within a school or even multiple schools. And yet their counterparts on the undergrad side, which may be enrolling or responsible for enrolling the same number of students, has a team 3, 4, 5 times larger, resources 3, 4, 5 times larger than they have. And yet, backing it up to the beginning of our conversation, these grad teams are feeling the burden on their shoulders of compensating for where the undergrad enrollment is maybe not coming through the door.
Yep.
So playing the game smarter has to be part of the GEM strategy in 2024. Because if you're not looking at the ROI on the things that you're doing, and like you said, diverting some of your strategies to the things that are working best, you're going to be spinning your tires. You're just going to be wasting a lot of time.
Yep, exactly. I think a great example of that, Mallory, I'd share is just one tactical example, but I think is a really great example in a tactical strategy of email, talking about email being dead. How do you actually do that? How do you play smarter, right? One example, I know a school where they don't have the people. And again, in enrollment management, the human factor is huge in helping those applicants really choose you at the end of the day and either finish the application or, if they've been accepted, choose you and deposit and enroll in your program. But just like you said, these teams are saying, I don't have the time, or I can't keep up with it all. How do you take something with technology, right? Think about you guys, I think about Element's, incredible platform and its capabilities. It can use technology to send something as simple as like a one-to-one email. It's not a marketing bulk email. I get the concern of like not wanting to be bulk in marketing but how can an admissions counselor have an individual email that goes out, but they're not manually clicking and doing that at the one-to-one level? But you can set up today a sequence that comes out of your email and it's synced with the system. It's not like out of a CRM platform. It's just like an email from me to you out of my Outlook. I use Outlook, but it's a sequence I set up that if I like Mallory and I had a good conversation, I put her into that and she just gets 3 emails from me that are from me to her. And that's helping enrollment management teams do more when they don't have the team to be able to keep up with hundreds or maybe even thousands of high interest. I'm talking about high interest, VIP, not every lead. That like these are serious inquiries or serious applicants. The best 20 or 30 you want, but you still can't send 20 or 30 emails on a Tuesday at 2:15 in the afternoon when you're overworked. We have to leverage technology. That's a great way I think technology comes in and keeps it personal and one-to-one without it being a blast. And that's not the most sexy thing I just shared there. Like that's not the most innovative thing, but I think that's where you play smarter and hey, I still want that personal feel, but we got to use technology because we just don't have the team size to do this at scale.
So I want to wrap this interview up and kind of give our listeners an understanding of just why DD is so important to Enrollify. Do you want to share some of that history?
Yes, thanks for bringing that up. We birthed Enrollify out of direct development, and we did a big rebrand, and DD Agency was around, and we had DD Agency, all these higher ed services as the agency, but we wanted to help build a community. We wanted to help put out content that was free and available. And we wanted real content that was really educational. So we launched Enrollify years ago with this vision to create an educational content hub that was a real resource for people in the intersection of enrollment management and marketing communications for higher ed. And we did it and it grew. And Element was our #1 strategic partner. You guys supported us so well in that. I would say Enrollify would not have been what it became even just a couple of years ago, were it not for Element's help. And so we grew as a company. Frankly, coming out of the pandemic, we grew like crazy, had to hire a lot of people, and our agency side became our #1 priority, and we couldn't keep it up. We couldn't keep up Enrollify and all the things. And we said, we need to find a partner who can take this to the next level, who gets the culture and gets the mission of what Enrollify was really all about. And so we were so fortunate to be able to connect with you guys and to be able to transition Enrollify over into your hands. It's something that we will always look back in our history and say, that was the best freaking decision. And it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's a hard decision to let go of something that we built. We needed to do it because of where our priorities are, and to serve our clients, we have to focus on our agency services. And we had to say, we started to get to a point where we're not doing a good job keeping it up. We either need to fully do that or fully do the other. And we didn't want to, again, less is more. And we had to do this very same advice I just am saying schools, but we got to do it with you guys. And I am so impressed at the way you guys, and a lot of that goes to you, Mallory, and your experience in this, and the ability to take a brand and build a community and not just put out content for content's sake, but actually put out real, educational, valuable content. Guys, there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of podcasts out there, and they suck. And I'm choosy about my content I want to listen to. I've got my time on my commute, but like, I only got one commute. I can't listen to 15 things. They'll better work. And so you guys have done such a good job at taking it to the next level. So excited to see Enrollify continue to be a brand and a community that actually is really helping schools do more of this.
Well, that's part of why this interview was so special to me. And one of the reasons why, like, I'm not sure exactly when this conversation will drop. And we're doing a lot of these interviews here, but you're my first one. And that, I really wanted to make sure we had a chance to talk because I agree. For years, I have thought Enrollify has been just one of the most valuable resources for this community. And the fact that you were able to, trust and pass that torch on to Element 451. And, I've been running this network now for about 6 months. Like, it has been such a wonderful experience. And I can already tell that many years from now, I will look back on this as a highlight of my career. I truly, truly feel that way. And so, Tony, thank you for having seen the need for this years ago, put the right resources and investment toward it. And then
it was a lot. We put a lot of resources towards it. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, it was well invested. And I hope that, we continue to do right. And the legacy that you all have left for us, right? Yeah. I hope we can continue to do right by you.
You guys are doing it. Thank you, Mallory.
Awesome.
That's an honor.
Thank you, Tony. It's been so nice to talk to you today. Where can listeners find you?
Listeners can find me on LinkedIn, or you can find me at agency.directdevelopment.com. That's DD Agency's home website where you'll find all about us. And thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.